Thanks for joining us once again on It's All Millennial. Here we talk about the issues that matter most to Generation Y. On today's show, our topic is mentoring. My guest, he's the chief architect of Wow for Dynamo Entrepreneur and the host of the Dynamo Show on Rogers TV. James Erdt supports social entrepreneurs and experts in living well and doing good. He is currently building the Reviver Ranch for at-risk teens to give them a better life full of love and skills for sustainability through group mentorship. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much, Ashley. I'm such a, happy man today to be supporting you, however I can. I love your work. So
thank you. It's an honor to actually have you on the show and to hear more about some of the things that are going on in your life. So
thank you for sharing.
Yeah. So mentorship is our topic for today. I know it's a subject that you know plenty about. Yeah. For you, why do you feel mentorship has become a big part of what you do today?
Well, mentorship is so important, especially for young people. Okay, I was young one time, believe it or not, and I had a few mentors, different mentors for different verticals that I was focusing on. One was personal development, one was the fitness world, and then one was giving back. Giving back through philanthropy, charity, etc. So I had three different mentors. Three prominent key people in my life that supported me in becoming who I am today. So now paying it forward or giving it back, however you want to call it, paying it forward to young people that I seek through different sources, through the judicial system, through informants on the street, basically sharing with us who are some of the worst kids that are the worst off, the at-risk teens that we work with. We do a lot of work in the Jane and Finch region, working with some of these gangbangers, kids that have circumstances that are leading them to a life of crime, pain, drugs, skipping school, hanging out downtown. This was my life. We can share a little bit more about that later. However, mentoring those kids, knowing and seeing what I've gone through myself is such a wonderful, rewarding experience. It just warms up your heart, and sharing that love that is lacking in their life and giving them skills and tools for sustainability is key.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's such a nice, to give back and to, see the development to somebody who, might have been struggling at some point, right?
It's true. It's true.
How do you feel the mentoring has changed you personally?
Wow. I mean, outside of my haircut, I basically have grown in a way that allows me to support others, right? And that's ultimately the secret. There's a good friend of mine, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's an internet media star, multimillionaire. He actually gave me $50,000 donation a few weeks ago to launch this ranch. So he actually committed me to this ranch. We raised $111,500 towards a $2 million ranch. Why has that been so significant in my life through this mentorship? Because the mentorship led me to that moment, right? So having focused on learning, growing, developing myself, being a good listener first, and then implementing and applying those things that I've learned through not only the law of attraction, which like attracts like. You put positive energy into the universe, you're going to get positive back. You throw a punch into the universe, guess what's coming back, right?
Yes.
So to learn those simple little things from my own mentors to now pay it forward has led me to one of the biggest stars on the planet donating 50 grand, saying, hey, this is your next move. So through divine guidance and following source and all the different signs, mentorship has led me to that moment. So from a personal growth perspective, it's been huge.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's fascinating. And, there's a lot that you get when, you're mentoring somebody else. You actually learn about yourself along the way, right?
Oh my God, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah, wow. So when mentoring young people, what do you find your approach to it is?
Love. Love.
Yeah.
Right? There's simply, in the simplest terms, there's a lack of love, usually in some way, shape, or form when there's problems.
Yeah.
Kids that I work with are 12 to 17. I know this particular show is for Gen Y and the Millennials. they will one day become millennials, you know, so guiding them before they become, actually they won't become millennials, they become, you know,
Sure,
they will never
they're
become
part of theirs,
millennials,
yeah,
they will
I
become,
hear
you
ya.
know, the next level of, you know, entrepreneurs, experts, you know, what I work with, speakers, authors, internet marketers, bloggers, coaches, personal trainers. So we guide them to become better communicators. We guide them to service and support other individuals. So when you give a person a fish, they eat for a day.
Yeah.
You teach a person to fish, they eat for a lifetime. However, when you teach the teachers how to teach the teachers, everybody eats.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Oh, that's such a nice message. And we're human,
Yes, we are.
right? I
Yes,
mean, what
we
do we
are.
desire? We desire love in
We
some
do.
way or another, right? And
We
the
do.
connection with somebody or with people, right?
Yeah.
So it's,
I mean,
it's
these
such
kids,
a nice.
they want two things. They want to belong
Yeah.
and they want respect.
Yeah.
Right? They want to belong, they want respect.
Don't we all?
How do they do that? By being better people. When
Yes.
they're better people, you attract amazing people like yourself, and you end up on shows like this.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
You know, with putting good energy into the universe, good things like this will happen where we can now share with the world.
Yep.
Right? If
Yeah.
you're bad in any way, shape, or form and doing bad things that are no good or undesirable, the likelihood of being on Ashley's show is unlikely.
Yeah.
Right?
So is there, I know like it's about the love and about the relationship that's formed, right, with people and the people that you work with. Are there any skills or traits that you're hoping that, you know, the individuals that you work with hope that they take away from you?
Yeah, I mean, patience is huge, right? So just really having the patience for them first off, and loving them in an unconditional way, and showing them that unconditional love and non-judgment of other human beings is critical for their own success.
Yeah.
Right? And loving, accepting, tolerance in a very multicultural fashion. I happen to be the host of the Multicultural Festival here in town in Mississauga.
Lovely.
You know, I'm a
Yeah.
Mosaic producer, which is a multicultural producer as well. I'm a big fan of the multicultural stuff that's going on in the community. So a lot of these kids, they come with a lot of hatred and a lot of labeling. And to debunk those myths of, you know, this ignorance that they're learning and in some way sharing amongst their own communities is key. So to allow them to understand that we're all human beings, we all love the same, we all feel the same, we all have parents, we all love animals, you know, there's all things that we have alike that we share and start with.
Yeah. Well, it's you know, the point about the non-judgment, I think is really important. Maybe we can talk
Huge.
more about that in segment 2. Thank
Yeah,
you.
love.
James, great discussion. Thank you very much.
Very
We're going to
welcome.
take a short break. We'll be back right after. Keep watching. Welcome back to It's All Millennial. Today we're talking about mentorship. Joining us again is James Erdt from Dynamo Entrepreneur. He actually has an empowering story of overcoming significant challenges as a young person to become the best-selling author, success coach, and mentor he is today for experts and at-risk teens. James, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So in our last segment, we were talking about mentorship, mentoring to millennials, and you had shared a little bit about, you know, the work that you're doing with teens and people in the community. But I guess the question that comes to mind for me, if you're okay talking about it, is how did you get into what you do? What's some of your story?
Yeah, well, thank you for allowing me to share. I'm very passionate about sharing this. I understand that life is for me. It's not to me. And that little shift in you know, how we think about what's happening around us versus, you know, what's happening to us, you know. So when we have that little shift of that, it changes things in a big way. So when I actually discovered that, it became more of a game. Okay, life became a game. I was the star, I was the producer, I was the director. I am the star, the producer, and the director of everything going on in the now. I realized that this is the only moment I have. This is the only moment that we all have, and we have a choice. We can be good or we can be bad, right? Back in the day, you know, let's take it back to, let's say when I was a young man, 15, 16, I made a big choice. I decided to smoke a joint, and it led down a path of pain, crime, violence, hanging out downtown, dropping out of high school, and just surrounding myself with a bunch of undesirable individuals. By the time I was 17, my girlfriend at the time thought it would be fun to steal $10,000 from her father with a check. She forged a check. I went to go cash it, and guess who was waiting for me at the bank? Her dad and the police.
Yeah.
Okay, I was charged as a young 17-year-old man. However, I was convicted as an 18-year-old. Okay, the biggest and probably only regret out of all of this was watching my mother's eyes tear up as I was being taken away to prison as a young 18-year-old man.
Yeah.
Prison today, in its current state, is not a healing facility.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you come out worse. You come out seasoned and skilled to be a criminal.
Yeah.
And if you can survive that as a young man at 18, which is very, very scary, as I'm sure you can imagine, the stuff you see on TV is real.
Yeah.
Okay, the stereotypes about prison are real. So to come out of that and survive that and have different types of skills, it led to more up until the age of 30. You know, by the time I was 33, I already had 4 friends dead from drug overdoses, 1 friend dead from gang violence. My best friend, at the time, his wife called me when I was 33 and said, hey, would you like to come out partying? You haven't been out in 3 years. So I've officially been clean for 14 years now. Nothing. And I've only been putting good energy back into the world for 14 years straight, and it's paying off. I've paid my dues, and one of the most painful things that actually happened was when he called me and said, I don't want to go out. I'm not going to go out. Thank you so much. Out of sight, out of mind. Basically, what happened was his wife called me in the morning and at 6 a.m. and I was like, first off, his wife never calls me, and at 6 a.m., so something's got to be wrong. Picked up the phone, he's dead.
Oh, wow.
He's dead. And I can assure you it's not fun burying your friends.
Yeah.
Not fun. It sparked something in me to give back to these young kids, to guide them. I can't save them, however, I can inspire them. And to show them that we can live an inspirational life and that it's never ever too late. A lot of these kids that we work with, they are so deep, they've lost hope. And when they lose hope, bad things happen, really bad things. So we empower them and show them that there is a better life by putting positive energy. And we can change our life around in light speed, right here, right now. It's very simple, it's a choice. We can take a horse to the water, however, we can't make the horse drink. When the horse is ready to drink, magic happens.
Yeah, wow. Well, thank you very much for sharing such a personal,
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for
sensitive,
letting
true
me share.
story. It's,
Appreciate it.
yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to head to a quick break. Keep watching. We'll be back. Thank you. Welcome back to It's All Millennial. I'm your host, Ashley Kreze. My guest, he's the chief architect of Wow for Dynamo Entrepreneur and is the host of the Dynamo Show on the Rogers TV. James, hi.
Hello, hello,
Hi.
hello.
So you had a very open discussion in the last segment about some of your past and how you've gotten to where you are today. So thank you for that again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me share.
Appreciate
if it empowers another youth, then I'm all over it.
Absolutely, yeah. So in this segment, I wanted to maybe explore a little bit around perseverance and goals and achieving what we set out to. You've touched on in some of the past segments around being in the moment, right?
Yes.
There's a psychologist by the name of Angela Duckworth, who's a fellow and professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, who's coined the term grit. Right? She defines grit as the more grit an individual has, the more likely they are to keep going when everything else makes it seem easier to give up.
Yes.
So grit is the passion and perseverance for long-term goals, which, as you've been talking, goals sound like such an integral part of what you do. So we'll talk more about that.
Sure.
She tends to say the more grit an individual has, the more likely they are to earn degrees or achieve sales quotas. That's sort of what they have in their mind.
That's right.
So for you, how do you define success?
You know what? Success is progressive, right? It's not a finite thing.
Yes.
It's an ongoing thing. It's not something you just reach and then stop, right? It's something that we tend to set out as a goal, and then when we hit it, we're like, okay, yes, no, and then some people, they kind of relax, but when you relax, you start to fall off the wayside again. Success is something that is progressive, right? It's in the now, making positive, proactive decisions here, right now, because it's the only moment we have. you know, when I got out of that industry, you know, I got into the fitness industry, okay? So I made a choice to get into the fitness industry, which actually saved my life. I worked for a company called Good Life Fitness, small little company here in Canada, and amongst 3 or 4 other companies. And when I was 26, I was kind of coming to the end of my drug phase, we'll call it, my you know, gang phase, we'll call it. At 30, I got out finally. I actually overdosed, and you know, I met my creator. I'm very fortunate to come back. I'm very grateful for every single moment I have, and I make the best of every single moment I have. However, knowing life is for us, not to us, there's lessons. There's inevitable storms that all of us face, right? And when we can really understand that this is a puzzle that we need to figure out at this particular moment and embrace it. And when negative thoughts come in our head, I play a slideshow. Okay, I think about my beautiful 4 children. I think about my gorgeous fiance. I think about, you know, just really good things that are happening in my life, so I can choose my feeling. We're given this thing called the emotional guidance system when we come into this phase, into this human phase, we'll call it 22 levels called feelings. When you truly understand to listen to them, anger, despair, grief, very low resonating vibrations, abundance, love, joy will take you to, you know, a higher place. So really following suit and really understanding that, hey, I'm in traffic right now. Yeah, okay, that guy's yelling at me. Yeah, okay, that guy cut me off. Instead of flipping them off or yelling at them, you can either blow them kisses, or you can get into traffic university. I'm going to make the best of this moment. I'm going to listen to personal development CDs. So really making a choice, a positive choice in each and every moment, led me to some of the massive successes that I've had as a man, really as a young man, into now a middle-aged man.
Wow. It's you know, so many things. I just want to keep time. We only have such amount of time for this segment, but you know, it's reminded me of a book called Choice Theory, actually written by William Glasser, that speaks to what you are talking about, choice in itself, right? And how you know, we feel so much more empowered per se when we embrace choice and we look at things from maybe an angle of choice, right? It sounds like that's a common element in some of the successes in your life.
Very important in all of our life.
Absolutely.
It's all a choice.
Absolutely, so with what you know, had mentioned in terms of what Duckworth had mentioned with grit, do you feel that success is tied to grit?
100%. 100%. So I mean, some call it hustle. You know, some call it, you know, perseverance, persistence, whatever it may be. I call it believing. Truly believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to? You know, believing in myself led me to becoming a personal trainer, to master trainer, to elite trainer of the year in Canada, to being nominated for fitness manager of the year, to being the largest revenue generating trainer in the history of the biggest company in Canada. I have 3 brands that are international. I've been doing events in Mumbai, India. I've been doing all kinds of international philanthropic concepts and projects, you know, all from believing in myself that I can do it. Just this past weekend, I hosted the pretty much largest, most high-level affluent party ever in the history of Mississauga at the top of the Marilyn Monroe Towers, with 300 guests, raising funds and awareness for Hats On, which is for mental health for young people. And I'm very, very proud of that, because it's now led to other philanthropic initiatives and working with charities, allowing me to kind of semi-retire, put somebody in place to run my companies and focus 100% on the ranch.
Wow. Well, it's empowering, and you know, when you were talking about the pride that comes in reflecting on what we do, I think that's an integral trait.
Patting ourselves on the back, we forget. We forget. We're like, oh my God, there's all this bad stuff going on, you know. But look at all the good things we've all accomplished.
I echo that absolutely.
We got here.
Yes,
right?
acknowledging it. Right?
Acknowledging it. That's right.
Yeah, it's important. You've touched on a bit, you know, some of your successes. Is there any more that you want to touch on? I know we talked a little bit about the ranch, but would you like to elaborate?
I'm getting married.
Oh, congratulations.
Getting married in Fiji,
Oh,
so, you know,
awesome.
this is huge, because for all the men out there, happy wife, happy life. It's simple, it's cliche, it's true, all right? Having a respect for women, like our mothers, our daughters, is so key, and there's so many men out there that really are undesirable. I'm sure you know that. and for good men to stand up and really inspire other men. You know, we can't force them to change. All we can do is inspire them. And my fiance and I, you know, this is my second go at getting married. She has 2 beautiful children, and I have 2 beautiful children, so we've joined forces.
Yeah.
And now we're getting married in Fiji. I met her on Match.com,
Oh,
and
yeah.
basically on our first date, it was so aligned. We call it twin flames. I asked her to be my committed girlfriend on our first date.
Yeah.
On year 1, I asked her to be my wife, and on year 2, I'm marrying her in Fiji at Tony Robbins Resort.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That just
so-
warms my heart. That's lovely.
to me, that's the number one.
Yeah.
You know, family is number one. She is number one. She comes before everything and anybody in my life.
Yeah.
And that's my greatest success to date, is making sure she has a smile on her face. Yeah.
Well, it's the value, you know, of family. Just I can hear it resonating from you. So
Yes.
it's very nice.
It's resonating loudly.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I know we've been, you know, exploring a few different avenues. Maybe if you can share some of your thoughts or tips to our millennial viewers on how to become more successful. What's some advice for them?
Grit.
Grit, yes.
Really
Perseverance,
have
passion.
the perseverance, you know, and it's these storms, really understanding that they're here for us to learn from, you know, whether it's, you know, a death in the family, or, you know, failing something, or like I take, for example, I failed my first time writing my personal trainer's exam. Okay, it's a 3-day course, 2 weeks of home study. I didn't like studying. I'm not a big fan of, you know, homework and studying stuff like that. It didn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
The current school system wasn't necessarily for me. I believe in schooling, however, maybe not the type of schooling that I ended up going through. Led me to, you know, really looking at myself in a way that allowed me to grow and surpass some of these obstacles and challenges in my very own life, and then be able to teach that to others.
Yeah. It's great. And you know, you touched on maybe in our next show together, we'll have to talk about sort of failure, because to me that's such an interesting topic that people often, you know, are hard on themselves on, right? Is you know, failure, the things that went wrong, when really it's, you know, the accumulation of you know, the actions and just the perseverance, right, to the point of grit.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
There is no failure. We either win or we learn.
I like that. It's a good tip. Thank you. James, such a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for
You're
being
very
on the show today.
You're very, very welcome.
Yeah, well, it's a privilege and an honor to be able to share some space and time with you. So thank you.
I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, once again, I would like to thank my guest on today's show, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for Dynamo Entrepreneur and the host of The Dynamo Show on Rogers TV. James Erdt supports social entrepreneurs and experts in living well and doing good. And thank you, of course, for watching. Here's how to connect with us. Our website, www.itsallmillennial.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn for anything and everything to do with Generation Y. See you next time.